Hi everyone, this is my update on my Killer Instinct restoration project. You can take a look at my previous video in which I was showing the original cabinet, which was a Mortal Kombat II that I picked up last fall. So it was a Mortal Kombat that was in a, let's say, an okay condition, but it has some damage on it. Mainly the bottom of the cabinet was all swollen. Maybe it was stored in a wet condition, because from about the bottom 6 or 8 inches of the cabinet was all swollen, and it had to be all sanded down. Also, the bottom right of the cabinet, there was a big hole in here, and the wood was all delaminating, so I ended up patching it up with another piece of wood and with a lot of Bondo. Now it's seamless. The old cabinet, I'm not shy of saying it's a brand new, out of the factory quality. I mean, I've put all the attention to detail I could possibly do. So I had to repair the swelling at the bottom. There was a couple of holes in the kick plate, which have all been patched. Now, one of the big part of the project was to prep the surfaces to receive the new side art. Since the finish is glossy, it had to be free of any imperfections. So there was a couple of drill holes in the sides, so it had to be bondoed everywhere. So it took quite a time. Once all the bondoed was done, I put 3 layers of primer, and then I sanded it, and also put 4 coats of satin black paint before putting the new art. Also, pretty much everything that is metal in the cabinet was rusted. So like the bolts, the corn shoe, the condors, everything has been sanded and restored back to the original quality. The light fixture, well, the light wasn't working, so I've changed the tube, the ballast, and the starter. Now it's all working great. There are new leg levelers. The original were all rusted, but I've been able to save the brackets, so they're like brand new. So even the underside of the cabinet is restored, and that was the philosophy of this whole project. I wanted to have like a brand new cabinet, not just what is visible on the outside. The condors, they were pretty much okay originally, but I've decided to strip the paint off, and underneath it was all rusted. So I all sanded them down and sprayed on a trim clad hammered finish paint on there. So you can't really see it on the camera, but it gives a nice hammered finish, just like the original. Also, I've replaced the corn, those push to reject buttons here. They are lining up, but I've replaced the bulb for LED, which are red, and it gives a nice pop to the light here. So, as for the control panel, early on the project, I've made the decision to disassemble the old control panel, but because it was all loose, and it had to be straightened up. So I've removed every panel, unnailed everything, and put it all back the way it should be. The control panel in itself, the top layer here, the original one was in very good condition. So fellow KLover user, they convinced me to build a new one instead of hacking the Mortal Kombat one, because in Mortal Kombat you only have 5 buttons, where in Killer Instinct you have 6. So I've ended up building a new wooden panel And one guy on KLOV that I want to give a great shout out was JP335i. This guy is awesome. He sent me a Killer Instinct reproduction Killer Instinct panel for free, and he even paid for shipping. So if you're listening to this, a big thank you to you. Also, I've built a new plexiglass to go on top. So with my router, I've also been able to cut all the grooves for the buttons here, and I'm pretty satisfied with the result. New button and joysticks, everything is working great. As for the control panel, so the control panel already comes from Boosted for HP, awesome product. You can find this product on eBay, but also on KLOV. The graphics, the side art for the front and the sides, they come from my MK Arcade Restore. A great guy also from Belgium, if I'm not mistaken. Also, the marquee is an original one that came from a previous arcade I had. The instruction card also, very rare pieces that I'm really proud to have on the machine. They are not repros, they are original. One other modification I've made on the MK2. Originally you have one 6.5-inch woofer and one little tweeter, but I've decided to put two 6.5-inch two-way speaker. They are 200 watts and they sound amazing, given the fact that in Killer Instinct the soundtrack and the sound effect are the best you can get. As for the game in itself, in there I have obviously a Killer Instinct 1 board, but I've installed a 6-in-1 jamma switcher, so I've Killer Instinct 1, Killer Instinct 2, and in the course of the project I've decided that I wanted my kids to be able to play with the machine, and I think, well, as much as I love Killer Instinct, it's not really a great game for the kids, so I've put a Raspberry Pi 3 to be able to play main games. I mean, literally every arcade game that you can get, and with the ArPiCade, which is a little board that you plug your Raspberry Pi in, and it interfaces with your JAMMA harness, meaning that it's plug and play, and you can play your Raspberry Pi 3 on your arcade. The only modifications that has been done to it was to build a kick harness, so you can handle the 3 additional buttons for the Raspberry Pi. The Killer Instinct 1 and 2, they all got the compact flash card modification, so the hard disk, which are reputed to be unreliable, after all it's a 25-year-old game, they've been replaced with the compact flash card that you can see here. So they replace the hard disk. So I've mounted the two K1 and K2 boards on a little shelf I made, just to prevent if there's a flood in the future or anything, they won't be in the water. They plug in the 6-in-1 jamma switcher here. Previously I made a mod to this board here to handle the test menu as well as the -5 volt that those boards require. There's a new power supply. It's an app 130 watt, if I'm not mistaken. Like I've mentioned, and here's the Raspberry Pi with the ArPiCade installed. So you have a volume knob at the left, so it's near the condor. So if I want to adjust the volume, you open up the condor and it's easily accessible. So all the metal parts that you see here, they have been polished, and yeah, that's about it. Thanks, guys.